The U.S. Army Caisson Platoon, we're part of the Old Guard, which is the 3rd U.S. Infantry. Basically what we do is we're the people that transport the coffin or the urn to its final resting place in Arlington National Cemetery.
Okay. On the wagon, there are 4 different positions for the horses. You have the lead team, which is the very first team on the wagon, so they're farthest away from the actual wagon, and their job is navigation control. The swing position are the horses in between the horses closest to the wagon and the horses farthest away from the wagon, and their job is to swing out on corners so that way the wagon can clear that corner. The wheel rider is the most important position on the wagon. He can see in front of him and back of him. He can see everything that's going on with all the horses and the riders, and his job is the main power and main stopping motion of the wagon. The section sergeant is the last position. His position is largely ceremonial. He's there to make sure that we are notified of anything that we can't see or are not allowed to see during the ceremony. And it's also his job to make sure that our way is clear when we're moving up hills and none of the tourists get trampled or anything like that. It's his job to notify people that we're coming. The Caisson uniform is pretty unique, actually. We have the standard blouse that everyone else in the Old Guard has, which has the infantry cord, which is the blue cord right here. You have the Old Guard buff strap, which is the buff strap right here. You have your medals that you've earned, and then you have your unit citations and awards right here. What's unique about ours is that we wear ceremonial riding pants, riding breeches, which look like regular blues pants, but they're riding pants. And we also have boots, riding boots, which have spurs on them. The uniform, every day, it has to be perfect. Your sergeant has to look at it and say there's absolutely no defect with that uniform. However, when you come back at night, you've been working with a pack animal all day. So you have hair and you have dirt and you have different things on it. So it takes a lot of maintenance to keep Caisson uniforms where they're at.
The saddle adjustments are very important because if the horse is uncomfortable, he's not going to be paying attention to what the rider is telling him to do. Meaning if something's not adjusted right, just a matter of a strap being adjusted the wrong way, it can rub a horse the wrong way, it can cause bruises and a lot of wear and tear on the horse, which will break the horse down eventually. And that's one thing we constantly have to check periodically all through the day. And when you see us out there inspecting, that's what we're looking for. Or we go through a rotation. We may be on a rotation where we're having a larger horse, and then the next week we might use a smaller horse. You can't take that tack, put on a larger horse, and keep the same adjustments because it's going to either be too tight, too loose, and we have to make those adjustments. We have the capability of making all of the harness that we have. We have a book of the actual blueprints of every item that we use, and it tells us how to make it by stitch count, thickness, hardware, as far as measurements, and that's what we use pretty much as our Bible, is what we go by as far as making all of the harness. We cut out our own patterns, we stitch it either by hand stitch or machine sewn. It also gives us the capability of saving a lot of money because we do everything right on hand. Nobody really understands or in a lot of cases don't appreciate the work that they do because it is long hours, and if you figure if you work that many hours a day, you don't have a whole lot to do a lot of other things, especially if you got to get up 4 o'clock in the morning for 2 weeks in a row and work that late. But I think that's about the most important thing.